Hey guys, Manu here. We have a bike in the shop today that I have always wanted to talk to you about. This is a Harley-Davidson Sportster 48, probably the best looking Sportster with the legendary Evolution V-twin motor. This was dropped off by my longtime friend who recently purchased this and he wants me to work on it since this is a used bike. I will be bolting on stuff, do a bit of maintenance, and make it pretty for him in a future video. But as for now, I will take this out for a ride and see what's going on with this iconic motorcycle. So if you're curious about what I have to say about this one, stick around because I will be very blunt about this American Idol. Alrighty, let's go straight to the point and ride this thing in 5 p.m. rush hour traffic. Yes, my favorite time of the day to test ride a motorcycle. And if you're new to the channel, just to let you know, I live in the island of Cebu, here in the Philippines, and the traffic conditions here are wild, I tell you. But first, let's put some gas in the tiny 8-liter fuel tank because the low fuel light is, well, it's on. This might be a turn-off for some of you because of the limited range, but that shouldn't be a problem if you like short rides. For longer rides, I suggest you plan your fuel stops. And yes, I am wearing shorts because shorts make you look cooler on a Sportster.
Later.
Okay, let's go! The first thing you'll notice about the Sportster is the way this bike feels to the touch. It's got this very agricultural vibe to it. Almost everything is made out of metal. It feels crude, unrefined, and very basic. The vibrations from that V-twin motor pulsing through everything from the handlebars, the seat, the foot pegs, and so on. It feels like it's falling apart and might explode anytime soon. You could say this is a death trap on two wheels. Now moving forward, literally, all you have to do is release the clutch and you immediately feel the tractor-like pull. No gas is required to make it move at low speeds. The low-end torque is very obvious, perfect for low-speed riding in heavy urban traffic, just like this one. Now giving it some gas in the first two gears is something else. It lunges forward and might be too sudden for inexperienced riders. But with a bit of getting used to, it's actually an emotional experience that you don't get from a smooth and refined Japanese motorcycle. Now in terms of handling in bumper-to-bumper traffic, honestly, this is one of the bikes that I like to squeeze in and out of tight spaces. The short wheelbase makes it easy to maneuver in this sort of conditions. Now, despite the weight and the limited steering, it still feels very planted and manageable. Maybe because of the low seat height and the short ground clearance. Now, putting this bike to stop is pretty easy. The front and rear disc brakes have decent bite. In this situation, they're more than enough. Now getting out of the traffic jam into more open roads is a totally different story for the Sportster 48. And this is the part that I had to adjust myself in a lot of ways. Accelerating in any of the first three gears feels extremely satisfying, I tell you. Massive amounts of low-end torque kicks in and it feels like there's no end to it. The engine noises get louder and louder, reminding you that you need to change to the next gear. Now, I wasn't going really fast in this test ride because at the back of my mind, I was concerned about the 10-year-old tire at the front of this bike. But accelerating makes you want to move your body forward to give you this sense of control. And having the engine exposed, forward foot pegs, and that narrow gas tank that doesn't allow you to squeeze the bike in any way with your legs puts you in a very open spread eagle position. So you have to jam your butt into the back of the seat and hold on to the handlebars. The speedometer tells you something, but honestly it doesn't matter because the bike makes all your other senses tingle. The sounds, the vibrations, the engine heat, all make you feel the moment. And the exhaust. I just love the way the Evolution engine sounds when you rip it open. It envelopes you in a raw mechanical symphony that you have to experience for yourself. Now, despite my weird idea of test riding a bike in 5 p.m. traffic, I found this to be the full experience, especially now that this bike is it's a bobber. It doesn't have a rear fender, basically. And riding a bobber, and out of nowhere it starts raining, makes for a very wet experience. Now, another thing about the Sportster 48 is the suspension or lack thereof. Given the crappy roads that we have here, you have to keep an eye out for giant potholes or road imperfections. This bike, however, is equipped with aftermarket Olean suspension, and it did a great job of smoothing the ride a bit. Just a bit. Now the front, however, was taking a beating. Braking is also another thing when you're riding at highway speeds. They're pretty good in city traffic, but on the highway, you might want to plan your brakes ahead, as always. Now, everything I just said about the Sportster might sound all too good and make it seem like the perfect bike for basically anyone. In all honesty, it's not. It is flawed. Seriously, it's not the best at anything. Considering what you pay for also, it's got a small gas tank which is not ideal for long trips. The ergonomics are weird. I mean, look at me sitting on this bike. I'm hunched over and my legs are stretched forward. It barely has any suspension travel and very limited cornering clearance. It's a heavy bike despite its short wheelbase, which is going to be an issue for some riders. And that ancient Evolution V-twin motor is easily outclassed in overall performance and fuel economy by, let's say, a Kawasaki Vulcan 650, or maybe even a Honda Rebel 500. Hell, even the fake Harley Street 750 beats it. But here's the thing, which I think a lot of diehard Sportster owners out there would agree, or anyone that might have swung a leg over one. This bike has character. It gives you the sensations of what a motorcycle should feel like. It's raw and unfiltered 100%, an experience that will leave you wanting more. It shakes and rattles. It's a dangerous animal that needs to be tamed, yet entertaining at the same time. Now, the bare bones design and lack of any electronic doodads is also refreshing at this day and age. This bike feels so wrong, but it feels so right. Basically, an emotional and religious experience, which I think is the reason why a lot of older Harley owners love the Sportster. Why does a 1980s BMW E30 M3 feel so much better than a brand new Toyota Camry? Or why does a Rolex feel so much better on your wrist compared to a Casio when they tell the same time? So the Sportster 48, or the Evolution V-twin Sportster in general, is it a good beginner bike? I don't think so. But is it an awesome motorcycle? In my opinion, yes it is. And the more I look at this bike, the more I want to have one. Maybe, someday. Sadly, after almost half a century of production, this version of the Sportster is discontinued and can only be found in the used market. And the newer 1250 liquid-cooled model that replaced it, well, it sucks in terms of character despite it being better on paper. Nobody likes that bike. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Like and subscribe if you found this helpful, and if you have something good or bad to say about the 48 or the Evo Sportster in general, feel free to leave a comment for others to know about. As always, see you next time. Bye.